to our webinar this morning as part of National Meet the Firms Week. And we have a great session, Making the Link, Insights from a Big Four Recruiter. So we have a couple of terrific experts to share their perspective with you on how you can utilize some of your background and make sure that you as a candidate and your resume as a representative of you can really stand out. And you'll get some ideas about what's valuable to firms and what you should really highlight and even pursue to add to your background to be a really strong candidate. So it'll be a great session. We're in the middle of our Meet the Firms Week. Not sure if you have been able to join us for previous webinars this week. Hope you have at least been able to listen to a few of them. There's been some great topics, and we have a few more through this afternoon and tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So hopefully you can join us in those sessions as well, and we welcome you. And we hope that you find all this information really valuable and helpful to preparing you to, be successful in your accounting career. If you haven't signed up for the webinars, make sure you do so. You can do that at meetthefirmsweek.com, and there's a webinar page there, and it's just an easy registration button for each webinar. And if you haven't signed up for Accounting Fly, I really encourage you to create a profile on Accounting Fly. That's where you can have some real benefit when you look at the job search arena in the accounting field. As a part of this event, we'll send out your profile and resume to all the participating firms in your state. So that's a really good jump start already. And we have a lot of firms that we work with for entry-level and internship positions. And we're fully focused on accounting, so you know that you're in the right niche. And we have a $500 scholarship drawing, which I hopefully sounds pretty appealing and may be helpful to many of you. So if you have a completed profile, you'll be put in that drawing, and we have one every month. So you'll continuously be in that drawing with that complete profile, and just stay connected with us. I'd like to review kind of this pool here to make sure that you know the way to ask questions. We would like to hear from you throughout the session to know what's on your mind and what information you'd like to ask our two presenters, Mary and Tia. So if you'll take a look at your laptop, and on the right-hand side, there should be a control panel for the webinar tool. And if it's not expanded, you can expand it with the orange button with the white arrow in it, and look down to the questions section. And if you need to expand that, you click on the plus sign. When you expand that question section, you should see a box where you can type in, question is the initial intent of this. And this is where we would like you to pose questions to us. And I'll monitor these questions throughout the session, and we'll make sure we allow some time at the end of the session to get some answers, at least to some of the questions. And those that we aren't able to answer in this hour, we will get them answered, and we'll send out that information to you. Okay? So right now, just as a test, if you've been on previous webinars, you know that we like to do this to test out this section. But type in the school that you currently attend, or that if you've already graduated, the school that you attended in the past. We'd like to see who all is on the call and the different schools that are represented here. And I'll name out a few of them. So we have Penn State, we have Keller Graduate School, UCF, Westchester University, Southeast Missouri State, Wisconsin, Southern Oregon, St. Mary's College of California, University of Cincinnati, University of Texas Austin, Liberty and Nova Southeastern, University of Illinois, and they are going on and on. So thank you so much. Mary and Tia, you can see a really great variety, and I'll get the full list of all these schools to you. But I'm so excited everybody's here. This is really, really great, and I think it's, as questions come in, I think it's interesting for students to see what are the thoughts on the minds of students at other schools. It can start to give a little bit of an idea of, the different cultures and things that people want to learn. So anyway, terrific. Thank you so much. You can keep on typing in your school if you want to. Again, make sure that you're comfortable with that question panel. So I'd like to get to where we start hand it over to the main reason why you're here, and the piece of information from Mary and Tia that they're going to share with you. And I'll introduce each of them and do a real quick poll on your background, and then we'll hand it over, and Mary and Tia will start to chat with you directly. But we have both Mary and Tia from the University of Texas, Dallas. And they are representatives from the school that we have a great partnership with, and we work together on providing content like this to accounting students, and also helping students know what their options are as they're building their education and academic credentials, and also getting ready to start a strong career in accounting. Tia is the Senior Academic Program Coordinator for the Master's of Science in Accounting program at the University of Texas at Dallas. She has previously worked in the oil and gas accounting prior to her move into higher education. She obtained her degree in economics from the University of North Texas, and her master's degree in higher education from Abilene Christian University. And so Tia Edwards, so glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Terrific. Also, we have Mary Guan, who is currently the director for the Graduate Accounting Program at University of Texas, Dallas. She has taught as an adjunct faculty in accounting at UT Dallas for over 2 years. So she also has a background in accounting. She worked for over 5 years as a senior tax accounting accountant, specializing in international tax at Ernst & Young, and a senior tax and accounting advisor at a local CPA firm working with entrepreneurs. So I'm sure that was really some very interesting experience. Mary graduated from the UT Austin with an undergraduate and graduate degree in accounting, and was part of the Business Honors Program. So terrific credentials that both of our speakers bring. Some really great experience that I think you'll be able to really get a lot of information here and a lot of insight to help you. What I'd like to do before they start is just run a little poll, and we'd like to see who all is on the call, get an idea of the your experience level as part of our audience. So I have launched a poll here, and if you could click on here on what level of experience you have. You're obviously, your year in school, or if you're out of school, the amount of experience that you have. Okay. Thank you for your responses. I'm going to close that right now and share the results real quickly. So it's great to see, we have a bit of variety here. And that clearly, I think the majority of our audience is either towards the end of their career in college or at the master's student level. So definitely some people who are interested in probably preparing for a job search and making sure that they're ready and attractive candidates. So that's great. Thanks so much. Okay, so Mary and Tia, I am going to hand it over to you, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Hold on one second. Your panel, it's showing. Mm-hmm. Oh, now we can't.
So we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty here. It looks like, Mary, did you
get disconnected from your webcam? Oh, it's connecting now.
Bear with us, everybody. I think it's always nice when you can see some of the speakers, so we'll try to get Mary up on the screen for you so that you can see her while she's sharing the information with you.
Here, show windows. Oh, up here. No? Okay, well then, yeah. No. Here, why don't you come to mine while you present?
So I wonder if part of the advice we'll give is learning how to deal with unexpected circumstances and adapting to the current environment. That's certainly something that's a good example and in the works right now. There we go.
Actually, here, because you're controlling PowerPoint. All right, we're back.
Okay, terrific. Terrific. All right, thanks, you guys, and the floor is yours.
Great. Hi, everybody.
All right, everybody. Let me. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary, and Tia and I would like to welcome you to this webinar. So first off, thank you all for your time, and we're very excited to be able to share with you all some insights from different professionals along the way. Tia and I have worked with various students in school, but also those who have graduated, also professionals in different career paths. And along this journey, we've had a lot of questions. Some of them have come questions just about what really are employers looking for, what really happens in this recruiting process, this resume selection process. And along with that, they understand that they only have a very short time for their resume to come across a recruiter's desk. And they only sometimes have a one-shot chance at capturing that recruiter's attention. So they have a couple of questions. One, what will really make my resume stand out? Some students will have questions with why am I not getting certain interviews? And even if a student has selected that interview, realizing the importance of that resume and how experiences are reflected so that it really meets the recruiter's needs, that is key. What can they do to fill up different parts of their resume so that it would actually be beneficial in terms of answering critical questions even during the interview? So today we wanted to share with you all some of these insights from previous recruiters and professionals that would really help students along the way. So just a quick overview of our webinar today. We just wanted to first give you all kind of some insights from a prior Big Four recruiter's perspective in terms of what is their review process look like when they have a stack of resumes come across their table. So that's number one. Then next, we'll discuss a little bit of what are the recruiters really looking for after you get these different experiences to accomplish and reach what recruiters are looking for. How do you transfer that now to your resume? So that's number two, filling up the white space. Linking that leadership involvement to your resume is key.
Mary,
Next, we'll discuss. Yes. Deanna.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm getting some comments from some of the audience that there seems to be a little bit of an echo when you're speaking. So I wanted to let you know. Perhaps can you try adjusting your headphone or your headset a little bit? Okay. Can you go ahead and speak, ma'am?
Okay. What about now? Is that better?
Well, it sounded okay to me.
It's okay now?
Okay, yes. I'm getting some comments in from the audience. Yes, that's much better. Terrific. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. Okay, so real quick, just a quick overview for today. We wanted to just give a the process of what is a Big Four recruiter, what do they actually go through in terms of when they have a resume stack coming across their desk. Number two, being able to identify after what the recruiters are looking for, then now how do you actually get these experiences and then transfer these critical experiences onto your resume. Number three, we'll discuss a couple examples of alumni profiles, and lastly, we'll discuss how we can help you make that critical link between where you're at, your unique strengths and skills, your experiences, to meet the unique needs of your future employers. So before we move on, I'd like to just ask everybody, and we'll take a poll right now, what do you all think, how long is the average time a recruiter spends just upon first pass of a resume? So we can go ahead and take that poll right now. We have a couple options that y'all can guess from, but basically if a recruiter had a stack of resumes coming across their desk, they had to choose 4 to potentially fill for positions, but 10 to interview, and then 80 resumes to scan. What do y'all think the average time a recruiter takes upon first pass of each resume?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. Mary and Tia, can you see those results?
Tia can, I think.
About 13%, 2 to 5 seconds, 31%, 5 to 7 seconds, 23%, 7 to 10 seconds, 26%, 10 to 15 seconds, and 7%, 15 to 20 seconds.
Okay, so we got a couple guesses across the board. So are y'all ready for the average response? So the average time, this is from the Big Four previous recruiters, from her insight, from her experience. All right, so average is about just 5 to 7 seconds upon first glance. And what are they actually looking at to determine what gets through just this first pass? So they're looking at just, first of all, basic data. So they're looking at your education, your major, your graduation date, your GPA, any certifications if applicable. Beyond that, they're just looking at overall professional appearance, formatting, consistency. How does it look just professionally? So for example here, this is what they might be focusing on. As you'll see in the larger rectangular blue box, this is what they're really focusing on up front. This is the education, their major, you see their GPA, their graduation date, any certification. So this student here has included whether or not he is eligible to sit for the CPA exam and when. Beyond that, the recruiter just scans the resume just for overall professionalism and the appearance. So that includes whether certain titles, headers are aligned, proper spacing, proper use of white space. So that requires discernment and understanding how do you know what critical information to present and how to use that space. But this is just upon first glance. Now, upon second pass, let's go to look, take a closer look. So after the first round of resumes get through the first pass, then this is when the recruiter now takes a closer look. So this is when we spend a little bit more time. So average is about 20 to 30 seconds in this process. What are they looking for this time? So this is when they're starting to look for metrics. This is when they look for how your experiences are quantified and your contributions. They're also looking for accounting terms, whether or not you're adding value technically or in terms of any terminology that is related to your field or industry to show your expertise. Now, what are the next 2 items that are very, very key beyond metrics, accounting terms, are did you make a difference? Because remember, the candidates that they select to interview are the candidates that they want to see that they made a difference while they were a student, because that shows the pattern will continue as an employee. And lastly, something that's really important that employers are looking for are how well did you get along with others. So how do you even look for that on a resume? So let's take a closer look for an example. So note here at this one, so this is upon a closer look after it gets past the first pass. So you see a lot of colors. So what do the colors mean? So let's look at the first one. Let's look at just the blue items. So metrics, this is where the recruiter scans the resume and they're able to identify how is the student able to quantify their contributions and experiences. So here we see the student reviewing $75 million of repair parts. They're able to process orders for over 100 clients. They're able to accomplish a 98% fill rate, etc. Number 2, we have the next question. How are you different? So how are we able to identify this? So here on the green, we're able to see on the top that this student had was awarded a Dean's Excellence Scholarship. In green, they were able to further down earn the Deloitte Outstanding Performance Award. And down at the bottom, they were able to recommend many training initiatives. Okay, so this demonstrates initiative and that they were able to make a difference. The next item, accounting terms. So this is purple. This is the purple items that will stand out to a recruiter upon a closer look. So this is where we see reviewed. We see SAP software technology. We see calculating inventory targets, merger and acquisitions, determining reasonable assurance, analyze, predict financial performance, calculate derivatives, etc. Lastly, we have the question, how well were you able to get along with others? This is key as they're looking for students and future employees to work in teams to accomplish goals together for their company. So down here in the red, we see that the student was able to participate actively in various organizations. So we see that they were the president of Supply Chain Leadership Council, the student affairs chair of CMC Leadership Council, and the logistics officer of the SAP users group. All right, so let's go through a hypothetical scenario, a hypothetical review process of what a recruiter would actually, how they would actually categorize sample resumes. So if a recruiter had 3 resumes come across her table, how would she classify them? So this was from insight from a actual prior Big 4 recruiter that is now working in our career management center here at UT Dallas. And so we have our first student who, let's start on the farthest right where we have Carl. So Carl majored in accounting. His GPA was 2.8. He served as a waiter for his experience, and he was also an event volunteer for a day. Okay, so upon just a first review, this usually, from that recruiter's perspective, is not even considered as another resume that she would look at again. So that, to her, goes to the C pile in order of if she was to rank A, B, and C. Now let's look at Bob. Now Bob has a major in both accounting and finance. He has a GPA of 4.0. He is the member of a student organization called CEO Global and also the volunteer of VITA, a volunteer income tax assistance program. Now, upon the review of this resume, the recruiter might think, okay, this student has the required major, great GPA, is involved with organizations on and off campus, so overall pretty good. But if you go back to the various items that the recruiter is really looking for, if you're thinking about involvement, did they make a difference? Did they really get along with others? It's a little bit hard to tell. Were they just a member for one day in that organization, or were they an active member where they actually made a difference? Were they able to get along with others in a team, or were they just attending as a just an isolated individual? So upon review, this might just, for the recruiter, she would put them in the B pile after the first pass. Now, Amy, the first resume that we see on the far left here, her major is accounting, GPA 3.8. Now, what's in bold here is what really stands out to the recruiter this time. Similar organizations if you note for Amy and Bob, they were both involved in the same, but look at what she was involved in and how that was portrayed. Big picture on the resume. So she was the founder and the president of CEO Global, and she was also a tutor and volunteer for VITA. And so she prepared over 50 returns in her role. So she was not only a volunteer for filing and preparing these returns, but she also came back to tutor and train other students in the process in her second year. So for the recruiter, that would be an A-pile resume. Now note the difference between Amy and Bob. Amy had one major. It showed that she was very focused, although her GPA was slightly lower, 3.8. But if the recruiter at the end of the day had to only select one out of the two, what she would do is she would, after getting through all the B-pile resumes, she actually goes through and takes a closer look to see now out of the B-piles who could be an A. So Amy would be an example of somebody that went through the initial pass and also finally was selected for the, and if you note in the clip art, it's a much, much smaller pool, the A pile. So our question now is, what are employers really looking for specifically? We've talked about some sample profiles, and we talked about, in general, they're looking for people who make a difference. But we would like to go ahead and take the next poll to ask the question, what do you all think is the #1 skill that employers are looking for from their new candidates? And so this is actually from a recent survey from the National Association of Colleges and Employers. So let's go ahead and take that poll. What do you all think is the top transferable skill that employers seek right now?
We have the votes coming in and lots of people voting, so I'm going to let them continue to select their answer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. And hopefully you can see the results now.
Yeah, go ahead and read them.
3% strong work ethic, 24% interpersonal skills, 26% written and oral communication skills, 22% teamwork skills, and 26% leadership skills.
Okay, very good. Well, so according to the survey, y'all did very well. The top 5 transferable skills that they seek, the #1 that they're looking for is, yes, you'll see here, teamwork skills. How well can you work in diverse teams? As we know, today's population in various industries are all getting diverse, very global, different personalities, different backgrounds. So what employers really look for beyond the basics of your academics is, are you going to succeed in this environment going forward? So teamwork skills. #2 is, a lot of y'all selected this as well, the interpersonal skills. How well do you relate to others? #3, we have our leadership skills. So back to our original question, how effectively are you able to make a difference? 4, our written and oral communication skills. This is very important, especially as many industries and just business is getting globalized these days. How effectively do you communicate with and are able to understand others? Communication goes both ways. And lastly, having a strong work ethic. What is your attitude toward work? So as we can see, employers are looking for these transferable skills, but if they're only having a very short time to look at your resume, how are they able to identify this from just a resume? So in the next couple slides, Tia will go ahead and discuss this issue here. So question is, now that I know what these transferable skills are, how can I get those experiences to achieve those skills? But further, how do I present and link those skills onto my resume so that I could potentially get not only an opportunity to interview with my future employer, and this has happened to me in past interviews, but what goes on your resume are fair game for the employers to ask questions from, and I've actually had significant questions even in my interview process about volunteer or different organizations. I was involved in different projects that went way beyond just academic projects. So understanding how to really translate and link your experiences onto your resume is key. How do I fill up that extra white space on your resume if you still have a lot of space to make my resume pop? So Tia will go ahead and go through some specific steps. So here is our leadership, our resume, and making that link. How do you make that link? Are those transferable skills? All right, go ahead, Tia.
You can go to the next slide. So the biggest thing is that you want to stand out from the crowd. You want to make a difference through your leadership involvement and be able to reflect on your experiences. This is going to show the employer that, that you actually have those transferable skills, but you want to do that in a dynamic way. So in the case of our student here, you want to be able to describe your roles and responsibilities. So if you are, for example, if you are the president of some place like, or some organization like CEO Global or the Accounting Leadership Association, which are both here on UT Dallas's campus, or maybe Beta Alpha Psi if you are a part of a professional organization, then you want to be able to list everything that you've done. That's going to help you not only in your resume, but also in the interview, because if you're able to let them know, I did this, and this is what came of that, I did that, then you're going to seem more confident during your interview, but also you're going to be able to show them how you can transfer those skills to the employer. Then you also need to identify and quantify your key accomplishments. That's going to be the metrics that you saw in the previous example of your resume. I strongly encourage students to write out the actual number, so or list the number. So if you have a 98% return rate on an event that you had, then put 98%, because that's going to draw their eye to your resume and to those specific important parts of your resume. So as a leader, one of the big things is initiative that you would have to take. You would also have to coordinate events, usually for organizations. Even if it's not an event, it's something that shows that you made an impact into that organization. So if you had a program that you implemented, that's going to be something that you want to highlight on your resume. The best way to do that is by listing that you started a leadership development curriculum for the officers of your Accounting Leadership Association team. That's going to be something that will show them that not only do you have the leadership skills that they need, but the teamwork skills, which is very important in the workplace, and also the communication skills, especially if you went and had employers come on campus. It's things like that that you're going to be able to explain in the interview, but it piqued their interest on your resume. And then, of course, how effectively did you relate and connect with others? That all drives home the idea of teamwork. Everybody wants you to be able to do well in a team environment. Although I understand that a lot of people are lone wolves, you don't want to show that on the interview necessarily. And it's mainly because they want to make sure that you're going to be pleasant to work with. They're going to want to know that you can take direction well, and then also that you can lead others well. They're looking for future leaders of the organization. And so being able to show that through your resume, through the roles and responsibilities, the accomplishments that you had through your leadership experiences are going to be important. The next thing, once you actually write down your roles and your responsibilities, then you can show how that can transfer into an organization. So in the case of a student, so let's talk about Amy. She was the first profile. She was the co-founder and president of CEO Global. Well, what are some of the things that she did as the president? Well, she increased membership from 50 to 150 members. She coordinated speakers to come and present at info sessions or to develop workshops. And she planned events like their big bash at the end of the year or something like that. Anything that's going to show that she actually did those things, that'll be really important, and you can show the transferable skills. So in her case, it shows leadership, interpersonal skills, teamwork, and the fact that she's able to think outside of the box. And that's going to be something that's important, not only in your career as an accountant, but as you're continuing to move forward in your career and become a CFO and things like that. So continuing on in your path is going to be important to be able to link those skills and to develop them while you're working. In the second example, she was a VITA volunteer and trainer. She prepared tax returns and trained volunteers. All of that is going to show the next set of transferable skills, which would showcase professionalism. She had to deal with people on behalf of her university. In our case, UT Dallas is very, we're very involved in the community here in the DFW area as part of our volunteer income tax assistant volunteer opportunities for our students. And so all 200 of the students who participate each year, they have an opportunity to develop their communication skills, their customer service skills, and showcase the professionalism that they have, and develop that as well. One of the important things is also skill, and so knowing that you can prepare taxes and that you're able to transfer others. That's going to also be very important when you are going towards a position. So when you're linking those skills to your resume, the best way to do that is to rewrite your roles and quantify your contributions and use your accounting terminology to link those skills to the employer's needs. So if you're working for an audit firm, Mary was talking about different accounting terms or buzzwords, as most people call them. That's going to be the difference between somebody who's just listing out what they did as a part of their leadership positions to somebody who shows that they understand the business as well. And that's going to be important, is knowing that you can relate to them, you can talk to clients, and have confidence in your ability to meet their needs. And so definitely doing those things and making sure that you're using words like audited, reviewed, and a lot of the other words that she had earlier in her example. Those are going to be very helpful in linking your skills to your resume. So in our example, we had the president of CEO Global, and she increased membership, you remember, so she wrote out all the lists that she had that she'd accomplished as a part of her time with CEO Global. But when she writes it on her resume, she can use words like she develops strategy and a vision for the organization. With co-founders shows the teamwork. Increased membership, and she used the actual number, 50% through the recruitment process. That's important because the recruiter's eyes are going to be drawn to the 50%. Connected with 10 professionals in developing internal mentorship programs. That's important to show her professionalism because she was able to connect with people in the business. Also, the numbers, so the metrics were very important, and she was able to showcase that. And also her customer service and her ability to talk to people that she doesn't know, her networking skills. That is showing through her example here. And then finally, she planned her leadership coaching events for 150 students. That is a larger number, and so it shows that she's able to match her skills to volume. In the case of VITA, again, we saw what she actually did. So when she wrote it out the first time, she wrote things like she prepared tax returns and she trained others. Well, in her case, she was able to quantify it. She prepared 50 federal individual income tax returns. And a lot of organizations use a metric system or a matrix system before they even see your resume. So if you apply to a position online, a lot of times they have specific keywords that they're looking for, things like federal, individual income tax returns, income, those type of things, and especially software. They're looking for those things before it even gets to an actual person. So when you are applying online, which is probably not the best way to get a job, usually it's through who you know, but when you go to apply online, you're able to pick up those words so that you can pass through that first round of I guess, hurdles to get to the interview. So as well as interviewing 50 taxpayers, again, that showcases her professionalism, her customer service, her ability to network and meet people, especially people of diverse backgrounds, because in the event that she is not from a low-income family who would utilize the assistance of VITA, she's able to show that she can relate to them as well. And that can then transfer into her ability to relate to other clientele that the accounting firm would have. Then she trained 10 volunteers. That shows her ability to mentor others and lead others. Also, her ability to change her approach a lot of times, especially if she successfully trained those students. So there may be one who gets it right off the bat. Then there's another one who has to be explained it in a different way. They have to go to the basics of apples and oranges. She's able to change that, and that kind of shows through as well. And then research and applied tax law to client facts. That's going to show the skill part, the part that she needs in order to do her job well, which is understanding the laws behind what she's doing, understanding the actual roles that she has. So I'm going to hand it back over to Mary. She can go over our alumni a little bit. And actually, the people that we were just talking about are real people.
Thank you so much.
Unmute.
Mary, we can't hear you if you're speaking.
There you go. All right. You all hear me all right? Sorry about that. We're having technical difficulties with the connection. So thank you so much, Tia, for going through some of the specific steps. So we just wanted to highlight for you all just some sample profiles of our alumni who have been successful while they were here as students and continue to be successful where they're at their current employers. And so this one was a sample profile of a student who graduated in May of 14. This individual's GPA was 3.7 and ended up working at E&Y Audit. While they were a student, they co-founded and was the president of the CEO Global Organization, which is a student organization that focuses on really building leadership at the core value and also having coaches mentor students throughout their journey here and beyond after they graduate as well. And Vida, this was a student that was a volunteer preparer and tutor while they were here at the university. Now the next slide, is it not showing? All right, it's not showing. Here, I think I can get it to let me just. It has to do with the connection here. Well, you can just say it.
That way it's not
Yeah.
there for them.
That's all right. The next slide was basically similar to individual like Amy. His name was Andrew, and he graduated from May of 13. His GPA was 3.8, and he ended up graduating and working at PwC in audit, and he was the president of Toastmasters while he was a student, as well as a public relations officer for Ascend, which was one of our leadership affinity groups here at UT Dallas, and they are the largest chapter in the whole country right now, and there's also a professional chapter in the U.S. As well. And so these are two successful alumni profiles, and we just wanted to encourage y'all that y'all have all unique stories and unique strengths, skills, talents, and gifts. And so we believe that y'all are able to, through various experiences, just encouragement to pursue something that you're passionate about outside the classroom. See how you can use your skills and experiences to really make a difference, and it could start from something small, maybe just a charity that you care about. Maybe it's helping a school. This is an organization that I recently got involved with. It's a school in Ghana, helping them implement a QuickBooks accounting system for a literacy program, or developing an app to help promote an accounting program, and that involves perhaps interviewing alumni, interviewing professionals, and that might be helpful for international students as they're deciding which school to go to. So whatever ideas you'll have, we encourage y'all to, first of all, go and pursue these different types of experiences, and through these experiences, and as you're able to apply your skills academically and beyond, being able to get that transferable skill. That is what the employers are looking for. So lastly, we just wanted to encourage y'all and welcome y'all to visit our website or our campus at UT Dallas here, or just to reach out to either Tia or I, or anyone in our program here, maybe alumni, and let us help you make this link between where you're at, your experiences and your skills and assets, and how can we link that to your potential career path. And so here at UT Dallas, we have a couple different things that we just wanted to highlight as y'all are maybe in your career path and trying to decide which way to go. We understand it can be very stressful and a lot of decisions to make, and so we wanted to offer a couple of things that might be helpful for you as you're making this decision. So one, academics at UT Dallas, we're able to offer flexible classes. We have online options as well as evening options for our commuter students who may have to work during the day. In terms of all of this experience that we're discussing, getting involved on and off campus, we wanted to highlight that to get these experiences, they don't happen overnight. They have to start early on, as early as possible. But when you're checking out experiences, where to go to school at, we encourage you to also look at beyond the academics. What else does that school community have to offer? What can they offer on campus in terms of student activities and organizations, as well as professional organizations in that community, in that city, so that you can start to make the link. While you're a student, you're already doing informal and maybe formal internships and projects through your class assignments, or just through different opportunities to get those transferable skills. So leadership involvement opportunities are huge here at UT Dallas. We have a great connection with our entrepreneurship institution here. We have a pretty big entrepreneurship just community here in Dallas, and a lot of different types of organizations. Also, number 3, we'll be able to help you train and get equipped for the CPA in an effective and efficient timeline with our CPA review courses, and that can count towards credit for you, and also just be able to help plan and advise for you along this path as you are getting certified to be a licensed professional. And lastly, we wanted to highlight the amount of career resource opportunities we have here. So something we encourage you as you're looking at different schools and opportunities is to see down the road, big picture, what do I really care about? If you're wondering, how can I get to this particular path? What are the ways and what are the resources along the way that can best get me there? What does that city in particular have to offer in terms of industry or public accounting opportunities, or even entrepreneurship if you're thinking of starting your own business? So one unique thing about UT Dallas is that we have a devoted career center just for the management school. And so this is something that we offer different workshops and different resources pretty much almost every day on campus. We have employers coming on campus to do interviews with you. We have alumni professionals coming back to just share experiences, and we encourage y'all to be able to take advantage of those possible relationships that y'all can build, because they're your assets. And that's something that I wish somebody had encouraged me later on, was just to see these potential networking opportunities as just chances to build relationships, and they're assets, they're relationships that we need to monitor and follow up with, and just care about them as another individual. And we just encourage y'all to look into these unique opportunities. So that's something that at UT Dallas we offer, and we're excited to be able to help you all. So this is basically, in summary, we wanted to thank you all for your time today, and we hope that this was helpful for y'all as an encouragement that y'all can go ahead and you'll have a lot of potential to create those different experiences, to get those transferable skills, to be able to link that to your resume, to be able to get you to your career path, and that hopefully will benefit you beyond just this initial job, but also professionally as you develop in the future. So thank you all for your time, and I'll hand the time back to Deanna now in case if there are any questions from the students.
Great. Thanks so much. And yes, we do have quite a few questions here, so let me jump right in to get as many answered as we can. Several questions came in around GPA, and I think that just trying to figure out how to best display it. Perhaps it's maybe there's a concern about it being too low. So can you give some advice on one rounding? And I think it's you showed some examples where GPAs were rounded up to the 10th digit. So if that's standard, if you could kind of confirm that. And then what do people do if they have a low GPA? And really, what is considered a low GPA? If it's 3.0 or lower, or 3.5 or lower, what's your perspective on what is low, and if they do have a low GPA, how do they handle that?
Tia's going to go ahead and answer this.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, can you guys hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, I believe that you all can hear me, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that question. So as far as your GPA is concerned, actually, from what the recruiters have shown us, and also from what our students have shown as well in their ability to become employed, I guess, by especially the Big Four, usually somewhere around a 3.4 GPA is the minimum that I have seen. Of course, if you have a lower GPA, you can get a position, and really you can get a position just about anywhere. It's really going to kind of come to how you're set apart from that, and then I guess what the story is behind your GPA. So if you have a lower GPA and you were, for example, in the B category, so you were just a member of this organization and you didn't really impact your campus, you didn't make a difference, you didn't make decisions for anybody, then really that's not going to help you with your job search. If you have a 3.0 GPA, but you are the president of 4 and 5 organizations, and you have all of this work history to back you up, then there's a little bit of wiggle room there. But from what we have seen in the past, and also from what the recruiters are telling us, the competition is so fierce for especially those Big Four jobs that usually a 3.4 is the lowest that they would go. Now, aside from that, though, when you're talking about getting a position in industry or getting a position with something aside from the Big Four or aside from even an accounting firm, a lot of times your leadership skills and your involvement in school is going to be the big difference for you. The GPA, it can be a little bit lower, so probably around that 3.2 to 3.4 range. Usually at a 3.0, I would not highlight your GPA on your resume. I would probably go more towards your experiences, especially when it comes to your involvement in the community and in your organizations.
Okay, great.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, yeah, I think that's great. And obviously, through your answer and through your presentation, you both talked about leadership skills, right? But
yes.
Someone posed a very good comment that not everybody can be a president of an organization or can be a co-founder of an organization. So what are other ways that you can show leadership skills beyond those examples?
Well, one of the big things about that is going to be that you have to show that you made decisions, show that you had an impact on your organization. So you're right, not everybody's going to be the president, especially when you're looking at smaller campuses. You don't have all of the opportunities that larger campuses would have. So with that being the case, what I would encourage you to do would be to first find other routes of involvement. So if being on campus is not giving you enough pull or enough influence, then go outside of your campus. Join a church group. Join a civic organization. Something that you can show that you were different, show that you had something else to do. Really, it's going to be through your actual tasks. So when we're talking about your roles and responsibilities, I would say if you can fill up as a member the same thing that somebody as a president in a different organization could fill up, then that could actually help you as well. And so if you have those metrics, if you have, if as a member of the County Leadership Association, you coordinated an event, that's going to be just as important as the president doing it. And so showing that you have those skills is going to be probably the most helpful and the most useful to you if you're not able to become the leader of the organization.
Okay, great, great. Pardon me. What about if you have work experience, but it's not obviously transferable skills? So how do you kind of make the connection? Perhaps the example given was being a cashier. How can you help them understand how to translate jobs that are maybe not an accounting internship but elsewhere into relevant experience?
Are you on here? Do you want to take it?
Sure, I can.
Okay.
You can see this person, actually. Okay. All right, so that's an excellent question. And this is actually kind of related to the previous question. I just wanted to encourage all the students because a lot of students don't have this similar question. How am I getting these transferable skills and how do I get these experiences that I'm not necessarily the president of this organization or the team leader of my job. So depending on what types of experiences y'all are getting, I encourage y'all to, for example, if you're just looking at that top 5 list of what the employers are looking for example, teamwork, okay, that #1 skill. So chances are, no matter what experience you're in, whether as a volunteer or an intern or in a student organization, chances are you're always working with people from different teams, okay? And so, for example, something that helped me when I was an intern, when I was in school, this was a marketing internship actually, in which I encourage if y'all can get different types of diverse experiences that will really help you along the way, just to get a very broad and holistic understanding of how businesses work and be able to meet people from different backgrounds. And so one of the things that we did at this internship was we had lunch and learns. And so what we did was the interns, one each week, would have to come up with a topic and present it to the rest of the intern group at lunch. Okay, and so one thing that I encourage all students to do, and even if you're interviewing with employers, to ask them about learning and training opportunities. Continuous growth is always helpful, and so maybe you can ask your employer, hey, do you all have a need for maybe hosting a lunch and learn about some particular topic? And then go ahead and do some research on that topic and then present it to your group. So for example, when I was a prior intern, one of the topics that we had presented on was, for example, understanding how different personalities can work together in the workplace. And so we did an analysis of using a personality assessment called the DISC profile, and we actually had a very fun, engaging, interactive, and useful time to where all the interns got together and understood each other better, and were able to understand as a result. Now knowing my differences and others' differences, how can we better work together? How can we resolve conflict? And how can we communicate better, more effectively? How can we flex to each other's styles? So that's something I'll encourage y'all that you can do. Basically look and search out needs, and if it's teamwork, just find opportunities perhaps to work together with people that are different, but towards a common goal, perhaps. So some ideas are that, or maybe mentoring, maybe wherever you're working at right now, you could ask. All businesses, all organizations are always going to support the idea of mentoring and training. And so perhaps you could suggest, you know, what if we had something here that an informal mentoring program where as somebody that was more advanced in experience was able to informally meet with somebody that was maybe a beginner here or other types of, for example, if you're working in retail, if you are in customer service, if you are a waiter or waitress, that experience, recruiters have said, is actually valuable. And what you want to highlight are the transferable skills that you're providing customer service, because again, that's highlighting interpersonal and teamwork skills. So wherever you're at, basically, as long as you're with people, there are ways to draw opportunities, perhaps, relating to working with others.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both, Mary and Tia. We've actually
Any other questions?
I don't think we can hear her.
We do have more questions. We have actually quite a few questions. And everybody, if your question was not answered, I will send these off to both Mary and Tia, and we will get answers back out to you. So please know that your questions will be answered. I'm sorry that we don't have enough time to answer all of them, but thanks so much for sending in so many. So this is great. We're glad that you were really interested to learn more and find out more. So thank you for attending this webinar. Also, again, Mary and Tia, thank you so much for presenting and sharing your information. It was great.
Thank you all so much for your time. Can you hear me okay? Thank you all for your time and everybody's patience today with technology issues. We're more than happy to be of help and a resource for you all. If you all have further questions or would like to contact us just about anything we talked about today, you could have really detailed opportunities. So I'll just leave you all with an email for us, msaccounting@utdallas.edu. So again, that's msaccounting@utdallas.edu. And Tia and I would be more than happy to be able to help you all along this journey. Thank you all. Thank you, Deanna, so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.